If you've been around on the internet for a while, you'll probably remember a time when Minecraft was considered a lost cause, a once beloved game that's reputation had been tarnished by its own developers and the player base that surrounded it. For years people just forgot about the game and moved on, but one day out of nowhere it received a massive resurgence. But why? And what even went wrong in the first place? Well, my name is Valson, and this is the time that Minecraft almost died. To give you a brief history of the game, Minecraft was, well, crafted by Swedish game developer Marcus Persson, or as most people know him, Notch. Notch began development on Minecraft in early March of 2009 after being inspired by another sandbox game he used to play called Infiniminer, heavy emphasis on the inspired. In only 2 days, 2 days, he created and published the first rendition of Minecraft. And although the game was seriously lacking in content, with you spawning into a confined world with an extremely limited range of items, people loved it. Only hours after its release, the forum it was published on was flooded with images of users' creations and designs, many of which have become iconic to the game's history. And when people weren't sharing what they had created, they were simply leaving their ideas of things that could be added to the game, and well, Notch listened. Half of Minecraft's most defining features were suggested in this forum: survival and creative mode, level saves, multiplayer, and even mobs all came from this forum. Notch continued working on the game, eventually forming a team of developers to assist him, who most of you now know as Mojang. And after 2 years of constant updates and improvements, the game was finally ready to launch at the first ever Minecraft convention in Las Vegas on the 18th of November 2011. Yeah, the game was that popular before its official release that it could hold its own convention. Crazy, right? But with the pull of a switch, the game was released. Minecraft's popularity rose immediately, with it becoming the 6th most sold PC game just 4 months after its release, and its sales only increased when it was announced that it was coming to consoles. Well, just the Xbox. Kinda cringe, not gonna lie. But Minecraft was truly flourishing, the game grew, and the community grew with it. Its online presence began to rise drastically as well. Every day, countless Let's Plays, tutorials, parodies, songs, and animations were posted, some of which gained an absurd amount of traction. Minecraft truly took over. Well, for a while it did anyway. See, some cracks in the game's foundation began to appear. Over the years of Minecraft's growth, the game's head developer Notch began working on it less and less, instead devoting a lot of his time and energy into creating smaller projects, as he claimed that it brought him more happiness and joy. His overall involvement with the game dropped so low that he eventually decided to step down as the lead developer and give the title to one of Mojang's original employees, Jeb. And despite Notch staying at Mojang, mainly due to him being the face of the company, his involvement with the game completely ended. Yet, despite him no longer working on the project, Notch would still be blamed for almost everything wrong with the game, and this really pissed him off, with him eventually taking to Twitter to write, "Anyone wanna buy my share of Mojang so I can move on with my life? Getting hate for trying to do the right thing is not my gig." Although Notch meant the message as a semi-sarcastic joke, people still took it seriously, one of these people being Microsoft, who sent him an offer of $2.5 billion. And to gamers around the world's dismay, he accepted the deal. Microsoft had taken the majority ownership of Minecraft. Now you may be thinking, surely after spending $2.5 billion on a project, Microsoft would have some idea of what to do with it. Nope. They barely even acknowledged the fact that they purchased it, but that would be the least of Minecraft's issues around this time. See, there's a certain stigma revolving around the Minecraft community that began around this time, that some of the creators and members don't always have the most holy relations with their fans. I am pretty sure you can guess what I'm implying here, and well, a lot of people started to get exposed for their behaviour, the most notable of which is someone I personally grew up watching, Lionmaker. If you don't know who Lionmaker is, he was once a popular character inside of Stampy's lovely world, who was exposed for, well, certain messages he was sending to his young fans. Now at the time, like a lot of you, I was too young to understand the situation involving him, but holy shit is it messed up. And Lion Maker wasn't the only one, not even close. So many people began to get exposed for their actions, and to say this destroyed the once wholesome image of Minecraft would be an understatement. The entire community was shunned from the internet. The once strongest community in the online space was fractured. And what did Microsoft and Mojang do to try save the game? Basically, nothing. They practically left the game in the void and refused to touch it. See, before Microsoft's acquisition, Mojang was creating and publishing around 3 to 4 major updates a year, but after it was sold, the game received nothing. Now, a couple months off from updating the game would make sense, seeing as they were under new management. But it wasn't just a couple of months, it was 17. 1 year, 5 months, and 17 days to be exact. But surely after all that time, the update they would eventually release would be amazing, right? Nope, not even close. In fact, they released the most controversial update in the game's history, the combat update. An update so hated and despised that many players and servers refuse to play it, even to this day. Now, before I tell you why it was so shit, I'll quickly mention some parts of it that were actually well liked. Like the Elytra. It was a drastic and honestly much needed upgrade to the previously mundane methods of travel in Minecraft. The ability to use your second hand. I don't think I need to explain why that's useful. Shulkers. It's just a better and more convenient version of the Ender Chest. And that's about it. Everything else was either mid or just straight up awful. But why was it so hated? Well, because it completely changed the core mechanics of combat. See, in previous versions of the game, combat was so simple and easy, but for whatever reason, Mojang decided it would be better to make it as complicated as possible. See, before, all you had to do in a fight was aim and click as fast as possible, but now you had to wait a considerable amount of time in between attacks. Time critical strikes and be prepared to block every strike with a shield, and this killed almost everyone's enthusiasm to even attempt combat. But surely Mojang would patch the combat and revert it to what it was after the backlash, right? Nope. Once it was clear that the changes would be permanent, so many of the remaining player base just gave up on the game and moved on. The simplicity that once drove people towards Minecraft was dead. The timing of this couldn't have been any worse for Mojang either. See, a new game was about to release, a free-to-play battle royale experience that completely took over the video game market. For all intensive purposes, Minecraft slowly faded away and evolved into a dead game. Almost everyone abandoned hope for its redemption and just moved on to the next hit release. For years, the only time the game would be mentioned was to discuss its downfall and what went wrong. It had practically become a lesson to other studios on how not to evolve a project. But one day, on the 18th of April 2019, a Fortnite YouTuber named Laserbeam would do a complete 180 and release a video playing Minecraft, followed up shortly after by PewDiePie doing the same. And what the fuck, the game's alive again. Somehow, the game had returned from what everyone believed was its grave. Every video on Minecraft was gaining millions upon millions of views. Now maybe it was people's nostalgia that brought them back, or maybe it was because people just decided they liked the game again, who knows. I'm not here to explain that. Well, I kind of am, but I'm not going to. And just like before, some core YouTubers began to explode in popularity just by playing the game. The most notable of which is, as you can probably guess, Dream, who started his YouTube journey by simply analysing PewDiePie's world. And now, he's become the biggest Minecraft YouTuber ever. Then, Microsoft and Mojang did what no one thought was possible. They actually released a good update. To say people's jaws hit the floor when this happened would be an understatement. Now, there's a lot of debate on which update was more crucial to the game. Some argue it was the aquatic update, which added some amazing features such as swimming, tridents, and shipwrecks. But personally, I think this update pales in comparison to another, the Nether update. The Nether update added some incredible additions to the game, like the obvious overhaul of the previously bland Nether world, and the addition of netherite tools and armour. But what really made it stand out was the new options for piglin trading. But why was this such a standout feature? See, speedruns of Minecraft had been rising in popularity for a while before this, but after the piglins were added, Holy shit. Everyone, and I mean everyone, began speedrunning. It practically became the online meta for views for quite a while, and when speedruns eventually began to fizzle out, an old Minecraft genre came in to take its place: SMPs. I'm sure everyone watching this is somewhat familiar with at least one SMP server. Let's be honest, it's Dreams. Now, despite what you may think of them, you can't deny the major impacts SMPs have had on Minecraft's longevity. Not only did they alone create hours worth of content, but they also introduced so many people to some amazing creators, new and old. So look, I'm not saying the game or the community that surrounds it is perfect. Far from it actually. But it is special, and although the game's player base may be rapidly declining again, mainly due to more poor updates from Mojang, I'm positive that no matter what, the game can and will always find some way to come back. Thanks for watching.